This is gonna be the first video, inaugural video, no wheel drive.
229.
229 for
229.
So we're in the legendary M3. Calvin's car, obviously. I think we have, how much horsepower do we have here?
It's rated at like 414, 295 pound-feet of torque, stock form.
Like, cause they lie a lot.
Well, when they dynoed it, it seemed about right. Dyno showed 3-something to the wheel. However, it seems to put the power down so well, because if you think about it, for example, the C63 is rated at 507 in some cases, and you're not gonna completely walk away from this car. Like, you're not gonna blow the doors off of it like you would think with 100 and something horsepower difference. Right. And a lot of stuff that has, I mean, 400 some horsepower really doesn't walk away from it like you would think it does. Maybe it's the weight thing, but I will say BMW did a good job of putting the power down with this car. But nobody buys this car to go in a straight line. Right. So the beauty of the E92 is that, to me, it kind of combines the whole essence of a car that can kind of do it all. It's one of those cars that's smooth, but at the same time very visceral. I can go out on a back road somewhere, tear up the back road, come home completely calm, and feel like I'm still in a BMW.
Even other than performance-wise, I guess we should start with the interior. The interior is very nice. Like, it's not too much. It's not like some Mercedes to me are almost too much.
Yeah.
But it's German, it's nice. Like, even though the Americans have come like 12 strides with interior, it's still like, when you sit in an American car, like if you go sit in a Camaro and then go sit in this car, you immediately can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. And it's not even just what you see, it's kind of what you feel.
Yep.
If you touch the interiors here, it feels like quality. It feels like this is meant to be a luxury car. You can feel like it's a BMW. Whereas if you get in the Camaros, like you said, they look a lot nicer, but they still feel, I mean, like a Chevy.
Yep.
There's nothing, and then they tend to fade over time. My car is a 12, and I drive it to death. It's my daily driver, and it's got 65,000 miles on it now, and the interior still looks like it did when it was a brand new car.
It's accurate.
Right. Granted, I take care of my car like it's a child, but still. As far as the exterior goes, like we were talking about in another video, on come before this, nothing, whatever. It's a timeless design. It's one of those cars that you'll see and always kind of respect. You'll always be like, oh yeah, that's an E92 M3. It's gonna always catch your eye, even especially as a car guy. It's gonna always catch your eye. The beauty of this car too is that it kind of has a subtlety about it. Like, you can look at it at quick glance and kind of not think anything of it, but then you'll notice those wide fender flares, and you'll notice the hood bubble, and you'll be like, oh yeah, something special about that car. And it is a really special car. Like, there's a million reviews about this car. Everybody talks about how it's good at this, good at that, how it's a great sports car, and it is. I mean, I'm not just saying it because I own it. He's driven it, and it's not just something that all of us just say because we have them. They were just a gem of their time, and still up to date, really, if you think about it, compared to some of the stuff, because even the new 15 Mustang was made aimed at this car, even after BMW had already dropped the new F80, F82, M3, M4. Mustang was still trying to compete with this car, and a lot of people are still trying to beat this car, because what you got was a 4-liter V8 that revs out to 8,400 RPM, sounds ridiculous doing it, and even with just the smallest of an exhaust system, I mean, it doesn't have to be a big fancy one. There's a Megan Racing exhaust that people put on this car for like 600 bucks. Sounds ridiculous.
Alright, hit it.
It's one of those cars that, like, you can truly get in and enjoy at any point. I will say the interior is not the fanciest. If you're into like fancy interiors, if you're into gimmicks, stuff like that, the M3 or essentially any BMW is really not for you. There's nothing fancy about it. It's functional.
It's like a minimalist.
Yep.
Interior.
There's like, you got AC, you got radio, you got your steering wheel controls. I mean, you got your heated seats. I mean, and my car is loaded. It has every feature. You can get on one. but it's still, like you said, like a minimalist approach to everything. I will say one thing I do not like about this car be the cup holders. They don't hold anything. And since Zaxby's now has drinks, which I feel like a whole video needs to be dedicated to that.
Yes.
Like I went to Zaxby's this morning, they're like, what would you like to drink? And I felt like I should have been recording it. But they actually have drinks now. So when I put my drink here, I have to drive home like a sane human being, because if I do anything reckless, my drink is going to fly into the passenger seat because these cup holders suck. And there are no cup holders in the back. So any back passengers have to hold their drink, which is, you know,
Really? I didn't know that.
there's nothing back there. No. We realized that when I had people back in the back seat and they were like, bro, I need to put my cup somewhere. And we was like trying to find a cup holder, and we even Googled it, and we were like, yeah, I don't think there are any, bro. So he had to hold his cup, and I had to drive home like a sane human being. And the thing about this car is that you never want to drive like a sane human being in it. You always want to do something a little crazy. You don't necessarily have to be trying to kill yourself at all times, but you always, I've never gotten in this car and not taken it to red line. When you got a car that does 8,500 RPM, 86, 87 with some tunes, kind of gotta take it there sometimes. It's just kind of one of those things you just gotta do. One of the things I love about this car too is that it's practical in its own right. Still a two-door car, it's still kind of funky to get in and out of, but trunk space is usable, back seat is usable, interior is nice. People get in it and they realize that they're in a luxury car, but at the same time, one press of the M button, one downshift lets you know you're in a performance car at the same time.
Explain to them what the M button does, because most people probably don't know what that does.
So the M button basically, you can set it for whatever settings you want. Mine is set to adjust adjust everything to the hardest setting. So you got your EDC control, which basically tightens up your suspension. You've got your sport and power and power plus modes, which adjust your throttle response. And then you've got your servotronic that adjusts your steering feel. All that stuff is affected by the M mode. So say I'm driving along like this in normal mode, civilian mode, I can press the M button and now the transmission, everything is in full-blown racetrack mode, and I press the gas and that happens. And so now we're full-blown just flying down the highway, and all I press is one button. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All I did was press one button.
I feel like it needs to be mentioned that this car, because I've driven two, obviously I have an S5, I've driven my share of performance cars. On the S5, test drove even the Camaro, the Mustang, stuff that on paper has more horsepower and should beat this car.
Yep.
But even in a straight line, once this car gets going, once you get in the upper RPM range, once you get above 100, it doesn't stop. Like, it does not give up. The engine does not die out at all. Like, it just keeps pulling.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And minus any wind noise you would get from this car, you can be doing 100, 110 and feel like you're doing like 50. It's just that smooth. I mean, that's just that German engineering. It does what it does, and it does it well. Like you were saying, it's not built for a straight line, but it'll do that too. A lot of things that you would think should beat it, they don't. Or at least they have a hard time doing so. If they do, you're not just gonna walk away from it that easily unless you got something that you built for 800 some horsepower. The sound system in BMWs, I feel like that's worth mentioning. Because you either go from straight garbage to what's actually a pretty nice sound system. Like it's the hi-fi. It sounds like crap. Even the name sounds like crap. But when you get that hi-fi sound system, you're not enjoying a single song. I don't care what song you're listening to. They all sound like crap. It always sounds like you got a blown speaker somewhere. But once you go up to like, okay, after your hi-fi, you got like another hi-fi level.
Like a Logic something. Logic 7, is that what it's called?
There's a hi-fi something else, then a Logic 7. And then you have mine, which is the individual audio or in the older ones, it was called EPS. The individual audio in the Harman Kardon Logic 7 sound great. Some people say the Logic 7 sounds better. In my experience, I like the individual audio better. I feel like the speakers are better quality. I do feel like they're a little underpowered though. The bass isn't super loud, but it's tight and it's always present. You're never missing it. But I gotta hit this bypass right here just because I need some noise. Tonal. Sorry, we had to. Right. thing you will realize driving this car is probably because I do stuff like that. Driving it as a daily driver, just expect to be at the gas station a lot. Because the tank is small. You get like, I think the range is supposedly 300 miles per tank, but you know, good luck with that. You're gonna end up getting about 200 miles per tank, if that. And you're gonna want to push it. Like I said, you're not gonna get in this car and not redline it at least once. Because the thing about the M3 is that, I mean, if you don't know what you're doing and you just mash it straight off the line, you're gonna spin the tire. But if you ease into it, it does a pretty good job of holding traction off the line. You're not gonna be like his car off the line jumps me every time because he's all-wheel drive. But you're not just gonna walk away from it off the line because it actually gets traction pretty well. Granted, you put the right tires on it. I have the Bridgestone Potenza SO4s, and those are really good tires, by the way. Second only to probably the Michelin PSS. But I mean, you can get these for much cheaper, so why not? Thought I'd throw a little plug in there for my tires.
And we have like 19s on this, nice features. And
it's a competition package, so it's it's 19s on the front and back. It's a I think I got 245, 265 stacker on it right now, but a lot of people do a 255, 275 stacker. Okay. I had a 255, 275 stacker, and I only went back with the 45, 65 because it was what they had in stock and I needed tires that day.
I guess we gotta talk about price. I mean, these can be found pretty cheaply.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
So brand new, this car
What,
probably gonna hit you for 70, right?
70, high 70s if you got one fully loaded.
Yeah.
Now you can get them for, I mean, you'll see them go as low as the 20s if you get something with high mileage. If you want low mileage,
don't do that, though.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that.
Don't do it. I wouldn't suggest it. If you're gonna get something with high mileage, just make sure you have maintenance records and try to get Blackstone oil reports to make sure it's not having any oil savings, because some of these cars did have issues with rod bearings. I don't know many people who've had it. I think the issue's kind of blown out of proportion a little bit, but it is worth mentioning. Another thing about this car too is that around 60,000 miles, your throttle actuators go bad. Mine went bad. Well, one of my banks went bad. It was the most frustrating process ever because it doesn't log the fault immediately. It has to happen like 6 times before it logs it. So you'll take it into BMW, they'll be like, oh, there wasn't anything wrong. They'll send you home and then your car break down.
But other than those two problems, it's a pretty reliable car, right?
Other than those two problems, especially for the type of performance you're getting, I mean, it's really hard to beat it. People can say what they want about German reliability this, German reliability that. This car has 65,000 miles on it, and I do not baby it at all. And I mean, that was the only 2 issues I've had out of it. But the only issue I had was the rod bearings. I haven't had any throttle. I mean, I haven't had any rod bearing issues. I've had throttle actually issues. For the price, you can get one of these. Let's say you get a good one with a moderate amount of miles for, we'll say $35,000, $36,000. What else are you gonna get for $35,000, $36,000 that does the thing? The only thing I can think of, you can get your new Mustang.
You can't even get a new Camaro for that.
You can get a new Mustang or a new Camaro. They don't do the things this car does. Like, this is a true performance car. It feels like one, it drives like one, it looks like one. It just is.
But yeah, the Camaro might, you might can make an argument for getting the Camaro instead. Maybe if you don't want the kind of headache and nervousness of the reliability of this car, because I imagine it can be slightly nerve-wracking, especially when stuff starts to go wrong.
Anytime that chime comes on, whether it's like, because it makes the same chime for like low tire pressure or a seatbelt off or whatever. Anytime that chime comes on, you tend to panic just a little bit, because you're like, you know, you could be just putting air in the tires, or you could be out of a few grand. You just never know. You gotta look and see what it's finna hit you for this time. Could be if it hits for 50 cents for air. Could be $50,000.
So that's the only thing. A new Camaro probably will give you near the same performance with the peace of mind, I guess, of having warranty. And
I will say, if you're into building cars to be just flat out fast, the Camaro would be your better option. The Mustang would be your better option, because I don't think the M3 is about being fast. I think it's more about an experience than it is anything else. Like, when you get in this car and drive it, you feel like you're driving something. Like the Camaros, don't get me wrong, they're very good cars. The experience is awesome. They handle well. They're fast. I mean, performance wise, for the dollar, it's hard to beat anything American, really. For the money, it's hard to beat them for strictly performance. But like I was saying, what I think this car does is it combines everything very well. You get your luxury, you get your speed, you get your track work. I mean, you get everything all in one. And you get to own a car that's, I mean, gonna go down as legendary. E92s are gonna go down as legendary. With the Camaro, it's always gonna be a Camaro.
Yep.
You know, it's gonna be, oh, that was the 5th gen, that was the 6th gen, that was the 7th gen Camaro. I mean, that's what it's gonna be from this day forward. Whereas the E92, or I think all M3s in their own right will always have a special place in people's heart, especially if you like German cars. One thing I want to highlight while he's waiting on this red light, the gear shift is perfect because you pull, it's dual clutch. You pull back to shift up, you push forward to go up here, but not right here, keep going. Yep. You push forward to shift down. It goes with the velocity of your body as you're going in the car. So you're not like trying to push it up as the car's pinning you to the seat.
I hate those.
I just felt like I had to mention that.
That is a very good point.
Right here, right here. Keep going. Turn left up here.
That is a very good point because I hate cars when you have the little manual shift mode and you're like forward to the seat and then you gotta fight all the G-forces and like freaking become Hulk and like try to push the thing forward. I'm like, that's not how it works.
It doesn't work. It just feels stupid.
They got it almost perfect. I think what only PDK maybe can attest to a better one.
Yeah. But the PDK, once again, you have to push it forward.
You do?
Yeah, you have to push it forward. But you have the pedals, so I mean, PDK, you really,
Porsche.
PDK can do no wrong.
What are you doing, Porsche?
PDK can do no wrong.
That's slightly wrong.
I don't care. I don't care if you had to
that's slightly wrong.
I don't care if you had to push it, like pull it up and push it down. Like the PDK is awesome.
That's slightly wrong. But the transmission is awesome in this.
Those rev max downshifts are just, I literally ride around downshifting for no reason. Just so I can hear those rev max downshifts. Real quick though, because a lot of people are very adamant about the 335 being just as good as the M3 with the tune. You drove the 335 in the M3. Do you think it's a close comparison?
Not at all. Simply the sound, and simply the V8, that's it. I mean, that's where the comparison stops. I mean, after that you can, I mean, because like I said, it can be faster. I mean, you can make, I mean, people always say, oh, if you spend like, what, $500 for the J4 tune, then it'll be faster than the M4. But I mean, you can make like a 1980 Civic faster than the M3 too if you try hard enough. But
still,
you're not gonna want to pull up in a 1980 Civic.
Exactly.
You know? Like, it doesn't matter if it's faster.
Yep, I agree.
It's the experience. It's the fact that it's the M3.
Completely agree.
They could have put a little bit more torque. That's the one thing I say that they could have done, maybe to make this car even better.
Yep.
A little bit more torque. Not even much, just like a little, like a dollop. A dollop of torque.
Dollop of torque.
And then it would have been perfect.
Yep, I agree with that. Another thing they could have done too, I think they should have worked on the programming of the dual clutch transmission in auto mode. Can't even talk. Because the like the PDK, for example, if you put it in like a normal mode or even like regular sport mode and drive around the city, it feels like a great automatic. You go on the track, put it in Sport Plus mode, which I've actually done, and I didn't even really need to shift, like it was always in the right gear. This car, never, ever, ever, ever is in the right gear. Ever. This car has never been in the right gear in automatic mode. Ever. It's always like in 7th gear when I want to be in 2nd, and it's always in 2nd when I want to be in 7th. There's a GSP right there too. I want to put the GSPs up here because of those hooligans that come through here driving fast.
Hooligans?
Those hooligans that come through here driving their loud cars all fast.
Are we still recording?
Awesome. Yeah.
I get happy every time I drive the car. That's how good it is. But that's the real measure. Like, if you get in the car and it makes you smile, it makes you happy.
Yep. That's all that matters. And the M3 does a good job of that. And it's not that I'm trying, I promise I'm not just trying to be biased. I love all types of cars. I respect most cars. I respect most cars for what they are. But the fact of the matter is the M3 deserves all the praise it gets. Period. Point blank, period.
Pretty much. So that's a little quick review. He's taking a curve, kind of fast.
Got like 80 right now.
Stay tuned for the next video. 5 things we dislike. I also got some S5 videos coming. No wheel drive 229. Out.